right, and obviously
consider the inconsistency in team selection still.
Can I just say, not only that, but
My name's Jake, not Jane, has got a sponsor. Actually, Jake.
You could pass for a
Actually,
Jane.
I haven't.
You could pass for a Jane.
I'm off.
Remember, we're all doing that in front of him. We're all buying. And he was out.
Good evening and welcome back to the West Ham Network. We have had time to compute what went on this afternoon. Matt, you were at the game. Are you buzzing, mate? Are you buzzing with life?
Still buzzing, mate. It's our cup final after all, so, I'm still buzzing. I'll have to go dig the trophy out. I think it's in the back of the wardrobe,
I love it, mate. It's all part of the banter. But what an atmosphere, yeah, thoughts?
Oh, it was weird because the atmosphere, the occasion seemed to be more than the game for a long period of time. I think both teams were cagey, but you couldn't fault the fans backing the team, giving it their all. It was. I think Antonio said himself in his post match that whatever happened between Romero and Fornals in the second half sort of kick-started the rest of the game. Like, it raised up the atmosphere, got everyone else going, and that gave us a barnstorming finish.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Well, listen, we know you have early morning in the morning. I was going to give you some sympathy, but my kids give me the early mornings every morning, Matt. So it's not such a bit of sympathy coming from me, really, to be honest. But let's get started. Let's go and rate the goalkeeper, the man that kept his spot in between the sticks, Lucas Fabianski.
I tossed and toyed with these ratings. I could sit here and say everyone had a 10, but I'm going to be realistic. But you know what? I'm actually going to give Fabianski an 8 today.
An 8?
I've been pretty critical of him, to be fair, of recent. I'll hold my hands up.
Yeah, you have.
He hasn't done well with his. I said he hasn't done well with his crosses. He hasn't been commanding. His distribution hasn't been great. But today, like, to sum up what I was talking about with his commanding in the box, in the last minute of the game, when they pumped that massive long ball up the pitch, Fabianski decided early, he's like, that's it, I'm coming. And he come through all the bodies, claimed it in the air, fell down, took it. And I was like, you know what? That's the sort of thing he's been missing. He had a lot of crosses fizzed in, low ones, and he come out and collected them as well. I thought he had a really strong game today, Fabianski.
Yeah, I think he did, mate. I think he was very, very commanding, and has shown the fans. Maybe that's the performance the fans needed to see, to be honest, today. To kind of understand, maybe, and well, I'm not saying all fans were thinking it should have been Areola, but I think what we've noticed there is that he's come out and he gave a fantastic performance today. Strong, he communicated really well, and like you said, mate, that big run up when he went and collected the ball from the cross in was fantastic in the last 30 seconds. Well under pressure.
It was one of them. I was quite surprised when they got it because they did literally just didn't expect Tottenham. I thought Tottenham would try and work it wide, but I think it might have been Dyer just literally pumped it straight down the middle.
Yeah,
it's one of them ones where if the defender deals with it, something you could get a lucky break of the ball. But he was very commanding that it claimed it, and it really rounded off his performance.
There you go. 59% of people agree with you on an 8. 25% of people gave him a 7. Loads of people in the chat. Father Snowman, Aiden, English Yardie, Neil from Down Under, Luke, Cyber Leader Dalek, Gary J. Everyone's in the chat. Long Dark Tunnel, you've given him a 7. Dalek's given him an 8. Neil's given him an 8. Michelle's given him an 8. David Anderson's given him an 8. And we're 4th in the Premier League. This is all from Martin Barrett. Paul Evans has said 9. He was solid, and he did get a clean sheet, mate. And let's be brutally honest, a couple of the chances that he saved were going in, and it was a great save he made from Harry Kane's header. as well. So, is there any way of swaying that and giving him a 9?
No,
Nah.
I'm giving him
Right.
an 8.
Right, that's
But
it.
and to be fair, I mean the ratings coming in front of him, but why? I'm probably giving him an 8.
Right, cool. Okay, let's move on then, and let's go and rate Aaron Creswell.
You may be able to sway me on this one because I've been sitting on between 2 ratings, but for the moment I've given him an 8.
Right.
But you might go up. I'm sitting between an 8 and a 9. Again, he's one where I've probably sat in the last couple of weeks and said, you know what, our deliveries have been awful. And then the last week is he's popped up with like 4 assists, 3 assists.
Yeah, yeah.
All of a sudden, he's just clicked. And,
His deliveries have been on point. Really?
Yeah. As I said, I think it's before the Everton game. I was like, our crosses, our corners have been crap this season. And then he's just, the last week, it's just something's clicked. He's whipping and got the pace on him. Another great delivery today. Teams still seem to like underrate him. I don't understand why. Or maybe it's because we're the West Ham fan, but he always seems to be at the moment a very good attacking outlet. People seem to just forget, maybe because he's not got the pace, he doesn't run past people.
Yeah.
But they'll let him go and they'll let him just sit deep and whip balls in. But with the height and the way we're scoring, you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
He's done very well defensively. What was that, Son's side? No, that's right, Lucas's side. Not much come down that side.
Well, to be honest, I did notice
I felt him and Fornals between them.
They swapped quite a lot. At Tottenham, Son and Mora, had a bit of a free range really throughout the game.
Only really one chance come down that side. I remember it was in the first half for that through ball from deep for Son.
Yeah,
for Son.
Angle. But to be fair, I couldn't blame Cressy for that. I think that was Augie.
I thought he had a solid game.
Yeah, he did, mate. He's back. He's performing week in and week out, and he's cemented that left back position. I can't think of anyone who would remotely come close to him right now in that role. And like you said, mate, there's 3 assists in 2 games. Can't fault it. I mean, I don't know I'd like to see what his assists are for the season. Actually, that would be an interesting one. So you've given him an 8, and 47% of people have given Creswell an 8. 31% of people have given him a 9. Dalek's given him an 8.5. Mishley's given him a 7. Neil from Down Under's given him a 9. Father Snowman's given him an 8. Vinay's given him a 9. Harry Wilkins, Cres was an 8, very calm in possession, even especially when he didn't have a whole lot of options. Great delivery for the goal. Paul Evans given him a 9. He was solid as well. David Anderson, 8 again for Cres. Solid defence, clean sheet, and great cross for goal. Really good. Did they get a point alone, mate? Did they get a point up because we got a clean sheet?
I gave him the extra point for the assist. I'll be honest. I was like,
yeah.
That's...
Are you going to change it? Are you happy with that?
I mean, I was sitting between 8 and 9. I generally couldn't decide. I mean, the chat's done exactly the same thing. I was hoping the chat would go one way and I could go, oh, well, I'll give him that. But it seems pretty split, so I'll stick with the 8. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Cool. All right, then. Let's move on then, and let's go and rate Angelo Ogbonna.
Write him off with your peril, lads. Jesus, he come back with vengeance, didn't he? Me, myself included, before the Everton game last week, I was like, drop him out, bring Diop in. And performance last week, and thought I'd given him a 9. I thought he was. I think I said about that ball for Son, and they done that ball once, and Son got in, and they didn't get that ball in again after that. They tried it a couple of times.
They didn't.
And it did.
Yeah, and it did. It actually, the ball that went through did go through Ogbonna. Ogbonna was slipped by Son, and to be fair, many defenders would be slipped by Son because he's a fantastic player.
Once,
but he only done it once. Yeah, you're right. He did. Yeah.
They tried it again a couple of minutes later, and Ogbonna cleared it.
Yeah.
He read it and was like, "Nope, we're not having that."
Yeah.
Yeah, I said, write him off, mate. Write him off at your peril. He just, I mean, was that his 200th game for West Ham today as well?
Yeah, 200th appearance for West Ham. Yeah.
Solid as ever, mate. He just does what he does every week, doesn't he?
Yep.
He's been doing it for years now.
He has been, mate. He has 100%. I thought, you know what? I've been his biggest critic, and I'll again hold my hands up when I think he plays well and he doesn't play well. I really do think that Zuma has brought him on again, even further. And there's really, when they're both on form, there's not a lot that's going to get through them. The chat is saying 69% of people are giving him an 8, though. So, let me see what the rest of people are saying in relation to Ogbonna. Father Snowman's giving him an 8. Long Dark Tunnel's giving him an 8. Neil from Down Under's giving him an 8. Vinay's giving him an 8. He did what he had to do. Mishley an 8. Paul Evans giving him an 8. Harry Wilkins was an 8. 8 for Og. Kane didn't get a sniff. Could be more progressive in possession, though. And Neil from Down Under was saying, was Kane playing? Yeah, exactly. Exactamondo. Right, it's time to move on to his partner in crime in a centre-half position, Kurt Happy Zuma.
Was Kane playing? I think he's still in Zuma's back pocket, mate. I think Zuma's going to have to empty him out later. 10 was 8.
He's giving him a 10. He's giving him a 10.
Some people, not West Ham fans, some people questioned when we spent that much money on him, why did Moyes want him? You said it. He's brought on Diop. He's brought on Ogbonna. He's just a class act, mate. He's a beast in that defence.
Yeah,
absolutely. He's actually absolutely massive. Like it's not much. I don't know what else to say. You know, like I said, he'd have to empty out his pockets later, and he pull Kane out of it. My man of the match, 100%. He was headers, tackles, blocks, passing.
Yeah.
He all action centre back. I don't think he put a foot wrong.
Yeah.
Even a tackle that some Tottenham fans are still trying to claim is a penalty. He quite clearly won the ball. Like, I've seen a replay of it. He won the ball. Like,
yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. 38% of people in the chat have given him a 9. 34% of people have given him an 8, and 23% of people have given him a 10. So you can see the wide variety of what people are saying. Neil from Down Under gives him a 9. Long Dark Tunnel gives him an 8. Father Snowman gives him a 9. Harry Wilkins 9. David Anderson 8 for Happy Z. Him and Godbonna forming an excellent partnership. In actual fact, all of the central defenders are forming a nice partnership, to be honest, right now. English Yardie, it gives him an 8. Paul Evans, 9. Gary J, 10. He was an absolute rock. Mishley, strong 9 for Zuma. 9 at the least. Revo was at the game today, lads. Best atmosphere in a long time. We are massive. Apache, Zuma, 10 was sublime today. The whole back line, including the goalie, gets an 8 from English Yardie. Paul Chambers thought it was Zuma's best performance for us today. Brick Wall and has pace too. Gets a 9, and Alan Wall gives him a 9 also. So there you go. Already straight in there with the first 10. I wonder if there's going to be another 10 kicking about somewhere. Let's have a little look and see when we move on to our next player to rate, and that is Ben Johnson, who played right back today.
I've given Johnson an 8, but I don't know if I'm doing a disservice giving him an 8. Like, he's played 3 games this weekend and we haven't conceded a goal.
Yeah.
Like, again, he's only a kid. You know, he's only had a couple of times played at right back. Obviously, it's his natural position, but he hasn't had many chances there. I think maybe right at the start of the second half, they were trying to get Johnson further forward. And that's when they sort of got a bit of action down that side, and clearly then they then just told him just sit back because they're countering us, and he just defended. Not much got past him. He defended well, passed his clearances. He was quite composed down in the fullback position, trying to make sure he didn't just hoof it for the sake of hoofing. He was always trying to pick someone out on the pass. And again, looks like we could have a real prospect on our hands.
I'm not saying I do think that the two fullbacks actually performed out their skins today. I thought they both got forward really well. They both came back really well. I think they added to what Zuma and Ogbonna were doing through the middle. Like you said, mate, more of the attacks were coming through the middle. So Zuma and Ogbonna were busier, but they pushed those players through the middle because they couldn't get anything down the wings. I kept remembering several times that Regulion was kept coming forward. He was constantly on the ball down the left-hand side, our right-hand side, Johnson's side, but hardly got any balls in. at all.
Yeah, he
very
didn't
rarely.
didn't get much out of him at all.
Very rarely. And
I thought both the fullbacks and both the wingers really put in
yeah.
the
So
hard graft.
there's probably mindset in giving Johnson and Creswell. I can see it in you that you're potentially wanting to do it, give them both a 9, and I think they possibly deserve a 9. To be honest, that's where I'm at. But it is your show, Matt. I'm not going to take over from you, mate.
I'm sitting there between them. Yeah, like I said, I'm trying to not just go, "Oh, we won, we beat Tottenham 10s everywhere."
Yeah,
but I think I've given him 3 8s in a week. Johnson, just
Yeah.
filling in for Soufal. You know,
yeah.
he's definitely in front of Fredericks right now, and you know, I mean, apparently Soufal might be fit for next week, but will Soufal walk straight back in now?
I don't think he can.
No.
I don't think that's the Moyes way. That's 3 games in a row that Johnson's played and not really put a foot wrong at all. And that's not a disservice to Soufal, but that's what you want. And I think Soufal is strong enough to be able to handle that. To be honest, I totally believe that I think he would be excited about the fact that a young player will be coming in and proving his worth 100%. And you may find that Johnson will get a bit of game time in the Premier League. Soufal may play a bit of Europa League. Or then it may start to switch again, because this is the whole point about a bit of movement in there as well, especially if we do win the next Europa League game, because then that secures our top position, and then we can really mess about with the last couple of games if we really want to. But they will want to keep as much momentum as they possibly can. English Yardy's giving him a 9. We have a player, guys, in Johnson. I agree with you. Dalek's giving him an 8. Father Snowman gives him a 9. Long Dark Tunnel an 8. Alan Wall, an 8. Johnson, a strong 7 for me. Neil, that's quite low. But it's your choice. David Anderson, 8 for Johnson. Love him defensively. Just needs to improve in his attacking. Vinay says Johnson was an excellent 9, good at carrying the ball forward. And that's the thing, David, I'll go back to that. You know, I actually felt that him and Bowen worked really well down the wing today. There were several times that Johnson would get a hold of the ball, Bowen would make the run, and Johnson would either play it into him or send the defender as if he was going to play it to him and then bring the ball back inside to Deckers, who would travel forward. I think he's got really good football and vision as well. Vinay's given him a 9. Excellent, good carrying the ball forward. Minchley gives him an 8. Paul Evans, 9. Johnson gaining confidence. He was on fire today from Revo. Paul Chambers. Johnson is giving Soufal real competition for right back. Didn't think I would be saying that last season. Top lad, 8. Ben Johnson from Apache gets a 9. Best game he's had, defended superbly, made some great passes and runs. And Harry Wilkins says 8 for Johnson today. Soufal does walk back in for me. Johnson doing well, but he is a level above. 46% of people give him an 8 and 42% of people give him a 9. So there you go. It's tight. It's tight as anything, mate. Let's go move into potato salad, Mr. Tommy Soucek. Rate Tommy Soucek.
Well, I mean, I've written my rating down, but I don't know. I'm sitting there debating my own rating. I'm sitting there thinking, is that the right rating? At the moment, I've written a 7. I'm not going to lie, but I'm still looking at that.
I think that's mega harsh, mate.
I know. That's why when I looked down at a bit of paper, I was like, did I give him a 7? He was unlucky in the first half with that with the header.
Yeah.
Just put it just wide. He was always a useful player in the box. Like we said, a lot of it went down the middle. Rarely did they get anything out of them. Rice and Soucek really did seem to nullify any sort of threat that they had down the middle of the pitch. Didn't have to cover as much ground because he spent a lot of it defensively, but didn't make many mistakes. Was solid all round. I don't know. Yeah, I've written 7, but I'm kind of sitting myself thinking probably should give him an 8.
Yeah,
yeah.
So you're going to change it to an 8?
Yeah, it's just I've got one other 7 down that I'm pretty settled, but this one I'm looking at it thinking that's a bit harsh.
Yeah, I do think it is because I've seen the 7 you're giving, and I think it makes sense, to be honest. But you know, I think an 8 is a kind of an average, decent score for Tommy Soucek as well. But I thought, you know, I don't think he looked lackadaisical. I don't think he lacked anything like that. I think he done the job he was designed to do. He didn't get great opportunities, but it was a scrappy game. So I don't think a scrappy game really suited him as such today, because obviously we rely heavily on Declan Rice to do all the scrappiness and allowing him to get further forward as much as he can. But he did break up play several times. I thought he went in and done the job that he was designed to do. Let's go and see what the chat is saying about Soucek. 55% of people have given him an 8. 34% of people have given him a 7. Let's go into the chat and see what people are saying about Tommy Soucek. David Anderson says he gets a 7. Steady from Thomas, could have scored with a volley and a header in the first half. Paul Evans gives him an 8. Long Dark Tunnel gives him a 7. Neil from Down gives him a 7 from me. Still not the best this year. Father Snowman gives him a 7. Long Dark Tunnel gives him a 7. Dalek gives him a 9. Michelet gives him a 7. Let me see. Revo gives him an 8. Looking better each game. Defensively much better. Unlucky with the header. And he gets an 8 from Paul Chambers as well. Now it's time to move on to Captain Declan Rice. Rate Declan Rice. God, we're smashing through these ratings, mate.
Well, I've written a 9. I only put a 10. The only reason I probably haven't written a 10 is because I said Zuma was man of the match, so I gave Zuma a 10. And
come on, are you going
I
to
come
change
here
it?
every week.
I feel like you are.
I come every week, and I've run out of words. Like I've generally run out of words to describe him because we used to say back in the day Noble would be like a consistent 7 out of 10. Like you'd always get that.
Yeah.
And I feel like Rice, the bare minimum you probably get is like an 8. But most weeks, and that's like an off week, you get an 8. Most weeks it's a 9 or a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So I sit here with a 9. Like I said, he broke up the play, he linked up the play, he carried ball forward when he needed to, he sat back when he needed to. A lot of it come from the middle of the pitch, but they didn't get a sniff, Tottenham, at all. Running out of words to describe him, and I could have given him a 10. I don't know what the chat have done.
I think I'll be brutally honest with you. I think there's a lot of people. I heard it today at the Sports Club as well when we went live there. That people were saying they were. It was like when we were voting for Ham of the Year. Oh, it's only fair that you vote for someone else. Well, that doesn't mean that. It's voting for the best player, and
Yeah.
I think Rice was equal today to Zuma for me. To be honest, he was everywhere. I mean, I did have his stats in front of me. I mean, they're phenomenal stats again.
I did see the stats earlier. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. He breaks up play. He makes the last ditching tackles. He drives the ball forward. He makes really nice penetrating passes. He leads that team from back through to front, and he's an absolute menace for any opposition. And to be honest, mate, I think he deserves it. I really do.
Yeah, as I said, like
you giving him
I'm
it?
trying to think why. Yeah, you're giving it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he
and
deserves
it is
mate.
exactly like that. Like you said, and it is like you said about like the Hammer of the Year, where people go, "Oh, we'll give it to him. We'll give it to him," and it's like, you know what? He is. I don't say this with respect to anyone else, but he is head and shoulders above the rest of the players in the team.
The but to that is, yes, he is to a certain extent, but he is playing as part of a team that works, and they're all bringing the best out of each other. Like, so Soucek is allowing Rice to be a 10, and Rice is allowing Soucek to get further forward. There's so much credit for each other for what they do, but you can't take away from the fact that Declan Rice gallops along that field. He covers so much ground very quickly with big strides to track back, but then leads the ball. I mean, all game today, Matt, he was dropping deep to collect, looked up, looked for the vision, and drove the team forward. All game today, all game. I don't know the amount of times when I was commentating, I was like, he's in the left back position, he's in the centre back position, now he's further forward, now he's driving forward, now he's got the ball, now he's broke up the play. Declan Rice, and I kept doing this throughout the match day live because it was Declan Rice, Declan Rice, Declan Rice. He's such a phenomenal player. Let me jump into the chat and see what the chat is saying. 48% of people have given him a 9, and 33% of people have given him a 10. So there you go. It's again nearly split as well. Neil from Down Under gives him a 9. Dalek gives him a 9. Long Dark Tunnel gives him a 9. Father Snowman gives him a 10. Michelet gives him a 9. David Anderson gives him a 10. He's always great and he's more excited than me at the end of the game. Gotta love him. Absolutely. Paul Evans gives him a 10. Epic Cash Time, the price is now £200 million. Did you see the comments from David Moyes?
Oh, I did see that comment.
Yeah.
I did. I thought it was brilliant. You know, it was a bargain, 100 mil. That bargain's now gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Harry Wilkins. Decker's really has become world class. He was a level above the other 21 on the field today. English Yardie 9, Mr. Consistent. Bit off topic. Did you think of Moyes saying there was a bar? Here we go. There you go, Liam. There you go. We just mentioned it. James Bong, evening chaps. Deckers gets a 9. Paul Chambers, Rice is turning into a Rolls Royce. Absolute quality class. Consistently the best player on the pitch. 9.5. Rice is a 10, outstanding again. James Farmer, Rice 10, rest of the squad 8. Yarmolenko -5. Paul Evans is saying he is the leader to our awesome team performance. Long Dark Tunnel saying man of the match. So there you go. Declan Rice gets a 10. Let's move on to he drinks Estrella. He's going to Vienna. His name is Pablo Fornals.
So it was a weird game for us in the final third. I know I saw a quote from Nuno earlier that Tottenham were the better team. Apart from the last 12, 13 minutes when we sat back, they were the team that were trying to nullify us and stop us playing. They didn't seem to have much interest in playing themselves. So I've given these ratings, and I'm going on the basis that we were the team that were trying to attack. We were the teams that were trying to force the issue for the most of the game. I've given Fornals an 8. But again, I think, as I mentioned earlier, for the wingers, that it wasn't just what they did going forward today. You know, we were going to have to nullify their width to get anything out of the game because they do have £60 million worth of fullbacks in Emerson and Regulion.
Yeah.
And then you add on to that Lucas Moura and Son, either side. So as much as, you know, I mean, like, you know, he had that cracking volley in the first half 4 hours. Acrobatic thing that he went for. And I don't know, I was down the other end. I've seen a replay. I'm still not convinced with how well Lloris saved it. Down the other end of the pitch.
Good save. Right on the edge.
I saw it from the other end of the pitch and I was like, surely that, from where I was, it didn't look like it was that much of a hard save to make. But
no, it was full stretch. Yeah, full stretch.
And he was unlucky. He had a deflected shot, which got tipped over. But as always, Fornals, it's his work ethic. He always puts it in, carrying the ball well at times, trying to do clever little passing. But yeah, he gets split off. I've split his ratings in half because he's got half for his attacking effort and half for the defensive effort he had to put in, trying to shut out Tottenham's width. I
think today, Pablo Fornals for me gets a 9. I'm giving him a 9 down to the fact that he done apart. You know, he had a bit of creativity. He was probably him and Bowen were our most creative players in the midfield. I know we're going to come on to another player in a second. But out with that, it's everything else he did on the park, like what you've said today, Matt. He was a menace for Tottenham. That's the only way I can describe Pablo Fornals today. He was an absolute menace. He caused Tottenham problems all day long, tracking back, tackling, getting stuck in, winning headers, going forward, creating play, creating little niches, little good bits of good spells for West Ham, holding possession, coming deep to collect the ball. He was doing what Declan Rice was doing several times, coming deep to collect the ball. I think there was a reason why he wasn't getting substituted either, because he was on point today. He was a total and utter menace, and for that alone, for his work rate, for me, he gets a 9. An 8 and a 9, they're all but the same, really, to be honest. Let me jump into the chat and see what everyone is saying. 45% of people have given Fornals an 8, and 33% of people have given him a 9. So let me jump into the chat and see what everyone's saying about Fornals. Father Snowman gives him an 8. Neil from Down Under gives him a 7. Long Dark Tunnel gives him a 7.5. Meashley gives him a 7. Apache gives him a 9. He was everywhere at times. It seemed like there were 2 of him on the pitch. Yeah, Vinay, Fornals 9 for me. Both of his shots were on target and really tested the keeper. David Anderson 8 for Pablo. Nearly scored and works and tries also so hard. 8 teetering on, a 9 for me from Gary J. Alan Wall gives him an 8. If he had buried that volley, it would have taken the roof off. Absolutely, mate. Paul Chambers, typical tireless performance, gives everything every game 8. Paul Evans gives him a 9. Fornals from James Bond gets a 9. Like all our team, he works his ass off. Harry Wilkins, 7.5, always on the front foot with them without the ball. Is still back, also 8. Yes, still is back. He was on today. Did you not see today? James Farmer, how many more would we have won by if we had rested the whole starting 11? Oh, I love that. What a shout. What an absolute shout. Right, it's time to move on to the Algerian Wizard, and that is Said Ben Rama.
I've given him the lowest rating, but it's still not like it's not a disrespectful rating. It's still a decent rating.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I've given him a 7. He struggled today.
He struggled creatively.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he still put the yards in. Let's be, and that is just expected of a Moyes team now. That you still track back, you still put the effort in, you still do the hard work, and he was doing all those sort of things, but he just couldn't get. I don't know. He was just missing something. It just wasn't creatively. It wasn't ticking. But then again, like I said, it was. From a neutral perspective, it was a weird game because it was very edgy. Like for an hour, like neither team wanted to give up the space. Both teams wanted to attack, but neither team wanted to give up anything in defence. Both were a bit, tentative. And it didn't really play into Ben Rama's hands. It was both teams were very compact and not given a lot of space, and it just didn't tick for him today. So he done everything Moyes would want in a defensive aspect, but I'm sure attacking wise, Moyes would probably want to see more of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what everyone in the chat is saying about Benny. 67% of people gave him a 7. 25% of people gave him an 8. Let's jump into the chat because I think there's a lot of lower ratings in the chat actually in relation to Benny. Dalek gives him an 8. Neil from Down Under gives him a 5. Let me just take that off the screen. Oh, wow. Is everything all right? Are you okay? You're not attacking.
All right.
A 5 from Ben Rama, and that's been generous. Surprised he wasn't taken off earlier, but hey, everyone has a bad day from time to time. Long Dark Tunnel gives him a 6.5. Alan Wall gives him a 7. Benny ran his socks off a little bit. Poor 7. Worst game for Benny, 6.5. Cyber Leader, 8 for Ben Rama. Still doing his weekly tomorrow. It's so funny, Dalek. I think he is. David Anderson, 7 for Benny. Worked hard to cover the middle of the park, but little up front. We've seen Vlasic's last 20 minutes. Paul Chambers expected more from him, a 6. James Farmer gives him a 7. Paul Evans, 7, maybe trying too hard. Long Dark Tunnel should have brought on Vlasic or Lanzini at 60. Gary Jade, Benny didn't have the best day at the office, but it's not for lack of trying. He was trying to make things happen. It just wasn't working out for him. I gave him a 7, but not out of disrespect. So yeah, similar to Matt. Benny, 8, not his best game, but another member of the Work Your Ass Off Club. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. English Artie, 7. Benny needs to pull the trigger on his shot quicker. He looked out of it. So there you go, mate. A lot of people kind of agreeing with your marker there. Time to move on to the right-hand side. Let me just get the right images up here. The right-hand side, and it is Jared Bowen.
I put Bowen in the same club as Fornals today. I thought, like you said, they were both are probably most attacking outlets.
Yeah.
I thought he linked up pretty well with Johnson. I thought he did when we did get the ball over the top and he had the opportunity to run up and running behind. He was causing them problems. I mean, I know he got the goal in Europe, but I still think he's just missing that Premier League goal to really kick him on again. But
yeah,
no, like you said, neither fullback really offered much. We restricted the width really well, and that was clearly part of the game plan, was try and force him down the middle of the pitch.
Yeah.
So I think he had a really good solid run out, considering that he played in midweek as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he just does what he each week. He's just a consistent performer. If he doesn't get a goal and he doesn't go, or crazy attacks. I mean, I think he did do decent attacks today. I think he did create opportunities for West Ham. And I think, like you said, it's just lacking a goal. And a goal maybe takes him from an 8 to a 9 or a 10. But when you have a player performing at an 8 or a 9 week in and week out, you've got the sign of a good footballing team and a good footballer on your hands there. So People may say an 8's harsh, and then people may say a 9's too much. So what else are you going to do? But yeah, I think we've got a fantastic player in Jared Bowen there anyway. So let's go into the chat and see what everyone is saying. 40% of people gave him an 8. 31% of people gave him a 9. Let's go see what everyone is having. Let's go and see what everyone is saying regarding Jared Bowen. Harry Wilson gives him a 6.5 today. Wasn't strong enough or on his toes at times. I don't agree with that one. But then equally, you're allowed your own opinion. He gets an 8 from Lockdown Tunnel. Measley gives him a 7. Neil from Dununna gives him an 8. Gary J gives him an 8. What an engine. Alan Wall gives him an 8. Tross gives him a solid 7. James Bond gives him a 9. Dalek gives him a 9 for Bowen. When will he get his in-cap? Surely Gareth needs to see him better than Kane. James Farmer. Bowen was much better option for the outballs for Johnson. But 9 for Bowen. Good in defence and up front. Should pull the trigger on shots quicker. David Anderson. Long that tunnel work rate 8 alone. Liam D 8 wasn't his best performance, however, still decent. 9 works his ass off. Troj, we lacked a Bowen on the left hand. We lacked a Bowen on the left hand side, really. So there you go. Jared Bowen's ratings are in, and it's last but not least in our starting 11. It's time to rate the goal scorer of the day, Mickey Antonio.
So, I mean, I've given Antonio an 8, but he's only got an 8 because he got the goal. I don't know. Maybe you see it different because I haven't watched this back yet, so maybe it looked differently on the TV. But I don't think he had, for large spells of the game, I don't think he had a great game.
So my judgment on Antonio is his work rate today was phenomenal, but he didn't have a lot of, what would you call it, clear-cut number 9 opportunities. But I would love to see the stats for his performance today because he is an absolute workhorse. He is, mate. He causes defence. I actually think every time that West Ham went on the attack, several times, if you think about his performance today, like there was balls that were coming in, he would collect them and he would do the hold-up play today. It was like a dirty number 9's job today. And on top of that, he got the goal, the match winner. I struggle to give. I understand when we dissect his game as a whole, why people would give him a little bit of a lower score. But I just think for the fact that he leads the line, he does lead the line. He did have a couple of opportunities. They went haywire. I get that. That's Antonio. That's the Antonio we've become accustomed to. But all he needs is one chance, and he took that one chance today. It landed on his foot. He put his foot out. He put it in the back of the net. He celebrated Matrix style. But his work rate, mate, is phenomenal. Yeah, he didn't have physical football, like backs to the wall, chances left, right, and centre, but he held up play. He held up play when we needed him to hold up play, and that's what he did today. Anyway, there's my case. Have I changed your opinion?
Yeah, well, like I said, I haven't seen it back, and I know there was a few times in my head where I was like, I think maybe it was more in the first half, where balls just like he wasn't making the ball stick. Like his touch was off or his cushion wasn't quite to the right player, but I haven't seen any of this back yet. So if you're telling me that he actually done a lot better, obviously sitting away in the stand, you don't get as good a view.
I mean, let me reiterate: it's more his work rate for me today than anything else, and the fact he got the match winner. You know, being there at the right time at the right place. I mean, how many more times? I mean, think about this, Matt, as well. Our new number 9 is not a number 9. But he's I don't know how many goals he's walked out with so far this season, how many goals he's walked out with. I mean, I read some ridiculous stat in the last 20-odd games, the amount of goals and assists he's been involved in. It's actually ridiculous, mate. It's ridiculous. And still, you know, we sometimes moan as fans. I know you're not moaning about him, but I think his work rate today was, honestly, he was through the roof. Like, I actually spoke to my dad. We never watched the game together today, but he phoned me up and he said, I said, "Oh, Dad, what do you think of that game?" He said, "Honestly, Antonio's work rate was just phenomenal." I was surprised because I thought he was going to go down and lead with another player, but he didn't. He just caused Tottenham problems all day. But it was because there was no end product. I think people don't sometimes forget all the other work that he does for the team. I don't know if you noticed as well near the end of the game that he got the ball down at the corner. And
that was impressive. Yeah,
and he held on to it
for a while.
And there was like 3 or 4 Tottenham players on him, and he kept going back and forth and back and forth. And I was just like, this is an Antonio with confidence. This is an Antonio that totally believes in his ability. So, what are you thinking? Are you going to change it? Have I convinced you?
Yeah.
Yes.
As I said, like
what
you
we
can't
like
you
to
can't see everything from, you can't see everything from the stand, and a 3-minute highlight on YouTube can only show you so much. So
Yeah.
If you're saying the work rate was there,
well, there we go. 45% of people in the chat agree with me and give him a 9. 25% of people have given him an 8. So there you go. Let me go and see what everyone is saying in the chat. Oh my God, there's so many people in here. Cyber Leader, Dalek, 10 from Antonio from me. Alan Wall's giving him a 9. 7.5 from Long Dark Tunnel. Father Snowman was an 8, scored the goal, pulled 9. David Anderson, Antonio, 9, match winner. James Bong, 9. 8 for Antonio. Troj gives him an 8. Morley is giving him a 9. Gary J says, I think 9. I think he was a menace for the defence. Neil from Down Under, 8 for Antonio. He troubled the Spuds all day, but fluffed a couple of shots. Vinay says, 1 chance, 1 goal. Can't ask more than that. He worked hard. Shame he's not playing for England. James Farmer gives him a 9. Not bad for a right back. Still a bit striker than Kane. Shame he's playing for Jamaica. 9 just because it was Kane attempting to mark him. Trinity Hammer. Arched Barley, I agree, Matt. 8 for the goal. Worked hard, expected, but average for the best of the game. Harry Wilkins gives him an 8. Paul Evans gives him a 10. What goal? What a workhorse. Troj gives him an 8. Antonio is a top man for work rate. 9 from me. From Alan. Service was not on point to Antonio today, but he kept working and was alive when it mattered. I totally agree with you here. Alan Wall says late here in Spain, so it's good night from me. Thank you very much for joining us, Alan. I agree, Matt. He struggled to hold up first time in ages. I don't think he did struggle to hold up the ball play, to be honest. I really don't. Antonio was better than Kane. Moyes should get a loan deal for Kane in January. He's back up to Antonio. Paul Chambers gives him an 8. And Helen Ludders gives him an 8 as well. So there you go. There's the first 11. Let's jump on to the subs. Sorry, I should say. So Lanzini came on for Benny, and Dawson came on for Bowen. What do you think?
Dawson was that was like the cushion at the end, wasn't it? That was just like, let's just make sure we don't throw this away at the end. And he'd done the job that was needed, but he was on the pitch about 2 minutes. I didn't even give him a rating.
Yeah.
And you know what? I didn't think it should have been Lanzini that came on. I don't really think he did that much either, to be honest.
I
was actually expecting him to bring Vlasic on.
I actually didn't. I think we were talking about this in the Match Day Live. I think Moyes has shown us this year that he can fall for a moment. You know, when it came to Mark Noble's penalty, as such, you know, he fell under the kind of the moment, like, and Noble coming on against Manchester United to score a penalty and it didn't work out. And Lanzini, who's got a history of playing against Tottenham and raising his standards to the occasion. So I kind of fully expected Lanzini to come on the park. Loads of people in the chat fully expected him to come on the park as well. But I thought he'd done well. I thought he'd done really well, actually. I thought he gave a good performance in the not long that he did have. But I think he broke down play. He's done a little bit of creative things. I'm kind of excited about Lanzini a little bit. I'm quite, I'm not as worried about what he can give to West Ham team. I think he can give us a performance and a half. But yeah, I thought he'd done a decent job. It's tough to rate a sub though, isn't it, when they don't get along?
Yeah, he had like 5 minutes. He come on with 5 minutes to go. It's kind of harsh to give him any sort of rating. You can give him 6s, give him 7s. I mean, the lowest rating I gave was a 7, so you can give them both 7s maybe.
Yeah. Yep.
No, absolutely. I was surprised. I didn't think it was a Lanzini situation. I thought he'd bring on Vlasic just to give us some legs up top.
Yeah.
Or I thought he'd bring on Noble to try and see the game out for the last 5 minutes. Like, I didn't think Lanzini, in terms of midfielders, I thought he'd have been like the third choice to come on.
Yeah. Fell for the moment though, and that's what he did. Loads of people in the chat giving their opinion. Let's get on to David Moyes then, mate. What do you think of David Moyes today?
Oh, well, even though I've just sat there and said, I would have made that sub different. Moyes is the manager. It's a 10. It's got to be a 10. I've given him a lot of 10s recently, but how can I not give him a 10? Like, I saw that there was, again, you talked about stats, there was a stat earlier, and it was like, look where we were like 18 months ago.
Yeah.
You know, you go back to July, was it like July 2020? We were just beaten by Burnley and Wolves and probably getting relegated. 18 months later, we're top of our European group after 3 games, and we're fourth in the table.
Yeah.
Like, he picked the right team, he got the right tactics right. I mean, I questioned the tactics after we scored because he basically went, right, we're going to shut up shop and Tottenham are going to break us down because they can't do it. And I was sitting there thinking, oh, you know what? If anyone's going to score now, it's going to be Tottenham. But they couldn't break us down. Couldn't do it. He brought on Lanzini just to try and seal out the midfield and give a bit of attacking flair and composure, which Lanzini did. And then right at the end, making sure he didn't make the mistake he made at Brentford, he brought on Dawson for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Just to seal it up. Like, he got everything right. It's, at the moment...
He did, mate. He did.
I'm giving him almost every game at the moment, but, I mean, we've lost, what? We played how many? Was it 9 league games? 2 in the Cup and 3 in the European Cup?
Yeah.
And we've only lost twice.
Yep.
This season,
Yep.
like
13 games and 1. Is it 1-9 now?
something like that. We lost 2.
1-9. Lost 2,
drawn.
drew 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
what can we say? Nothing but 10s. Previously, 45% of people gave Antonio a rating of 9 as well. So I don't know if I said that. And just now, we've had 62% of people have given him, David Moyes, a 10. Let's go and see quickly what everyone is saying about Moyes. I want to see Moyes come on for the last 30 seconds. Emer gives him a 10. Long Tunnel gives him a 9. Ludders gives him a 9. Mishley gives him a 9.5. Paul Evans gives him a 10. Moyes a 10, but should be a 12. Father Snowman gives him a 9. If the team won by 3, then 10. And Moyes 10 and Moister class. Late on subbing Benny. 106 watching, only 41 likes. Come on, guys, hit that like button. Yes, please hit that like button. If you're new around here, also hit that subscribe button. Also, I also gave Solskjaer a 10. George, the amount of Moyes speaks with Nevin on stop during a match's input is obviously important too. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Moyes 10 got his tactical management of the squad for these 3 games spot on as well. Mishley's saying, great show, fellas. Good night, everybody. Just 2 more ratings to do, and then we are off ski for this evening. Fans, mate, what's your thoughts on the fans?
10. Well, like I said, 12. It was.
Well, talk to me though, because
the atmosphere was.
Was it electric? Because this is the difference when you watch it on here. There were several times in the game, even the commentator said it, that there was a break in the game where no one was really doing anything, and one of the guys said the attack's quiet, just like the crowd's quiet. And I went, actually, funny enough, I couldn't hear anything there.
There was a couple of times it did die down, but then when it died down by both fans. Like I said, it was a weird game.
Yeah,
it was a very cagey game at times, but we started up, fired up. We finished the half cheering. It's even like it's hard for a player to play at full octane speed for 90 minutes. It's hard for fans to do the same for 90 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Fans are top notch anyway. We never mark our fans down. Let's get on to the last rating of the evening, and that is the referee, Paul Tierney.
I'm not sure, to be honest. Like, I don't. I'll give him a 7.
Right. Okay.
I didn't
listen
notice
to me.
I didn't notice him that much. So
have you seen a replay of the incident with Pablo Fornals?
No.
Now
when
I don't know.
Knocked on the floor. No.
So he's been knocked on the floor. It was a blatant foul. Now I've not seen the physical replay. I've seen an image, and I don't know how true the image is. But it looks like because Fornals reacts really badly to the circumstances, that it makes me think. And the image I saw, you feel like you can see spit coming out of his mouth. Now I don't know how true that is. I don't know if it was Regulion or if it was Romero. Was it?
It was the incident with Fornals was Romero, but again, I couldn't see anything. I did wonder. I thought maybe he'd said something in Spanish to him, maybe, because I did wonder why he looked really annoyed, and then Rice come flying over, and then Rice went in the book for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, they're a refereeing team. And if they haven't seen it, VAR should intervene if needed.
The picture I've seen, I really don't know how true it is. I don't think it is, to be honest. But I've seen a picture. It looks like the spit coming out of his mouth. But anything these days can be doctored, so I'm not 100% too sure. With it, I'd like to see that back.
I didn't notice it. I thought he was actually. You know what? I remember I moaned a couple of times in the first half because I thought he gave decisions their way. Like there was fouls that I thought he should have given that he didn't give, and I was like, oh, this is another one of them. But then in the second half, we made the same foul, and he still let it go. Like, well, there was one I was thinking of in particular was, I think in the first half, Antonio, one of the times he tried to hold the ball up, and the high ball come in, he was getting ready to chest it, and the top defender went over the top of him to head it and clear it. And you can't do that anymore. You can't go over the top of someone. That's a foul. He didn't give it. But then in the second half, I think Antonio, down in the fullback position for them, went over the top of the defender and won a header. And all the Tottenham players are moaning. But to keep it fair, he did call it down the middle. He was like, well, no, I've given you one. I can't give it the other way. He got the Zuma decision correct. I mean, I was down that end and I saw it straight away and was like, I thought it was a corner. I was like, Zuma's won the ball. I've seen Tottenham fans social media still moaning about it. I've seen one of them put a replay out, but how is this not a penalty? It's like, well, because Zuma gets the ball. No, you know what? If you don't notice a ref, then they've done well. That's always the old adage that if you don't notice the ref, you don't know the ref, then he's had a good game. He did try and let a lot of play go. He tries to play the advantage wherever possible. Yeah, I think a 7's probably fair enough for him. I don't think he had many controversial decisions to deal with, and I thought he'd managed the game as well as he could.
Yeah. I'm currently watching the replay of the incident with how did I do that? There we go. Romero and Fornals. Now, it's so tough to watch. But there's an action as if he is spitting. But he's also the same action could be like saying something,
going at him,
going in at him to say something. So I don't know how.
But you know what though? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for now. But maybe he didn't actually mean to spit him, like you said, because it was a high intense game. Maybe he had just lent in to say something to him.
Yeah,
and he just had something in his mouth and it just dribbled off him and fallen on him. Like it's
Yep. Absolutely. Well, listen, that brings it into our player ratings for the Tottenham game. The shows are coming thick and fast, mate. Matt, I know you need to go to bed, so we're going to come off soon just now. If you are new around here, please make sure you do go and subscribe to the channel. We're on the way to 10,000 subscribers, so please do that. Please go and hit that like button as well, the thumbs up that pushes us into the algorithm. That really does help us out. Last but not least, mate, who was your man of the match? Get the comments in and let us know your man of the match also.
Zuma.
Yeah.
He's taken defence up a level. For the whole team.
Yeah, he really has. He really has. And like you said, mate, he is it's not just Ogbonna, it's Dawson and Diop. They've got competition for places now and they're all looking over their shoulder going, okay, now I need to step up my game and they're all stepping up the game, mate. They're all stepping up the game. I have confidence in Dawson. I've got confidence in Diop. I've got confidence in Ogbonna, and I've got confidence in Zuma as well. Gary J saying Zuma man of the match. Long Dark Tunnel is saying Rice man of the match. Troj is saying Creswell man of the match. There you go. You can see the difference in people's opinions here. Seraph saying man of the match is Rice. Neil from Down Under saying Creswell man of the match from him. Listen, thank you for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Like I said, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Make sure you do hit the thumbs up. And we'll be back tomorrow, Monday. There'll be a lunchtime live. There may be a daily. And Stell makes his long-awaited return back to the network after a slight little appearance today at the Supporters Club. Take it easy, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow. And come on, you Irons.